You ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stretch the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand or 10,000 Kenyan shillings or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Make sure you pick up my two books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive-Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here. We are here live, ladies and gentlemen. It's October the 2nd. Hope everybody is doing well. Those of you here definitely on the app, shout out to you. Those who are watching us now on Twitch, we're starting to stream there now. Just want to put, at least some of the content over there just to see how it goes. Why not? It's just easy to stream multiple places. Hope everybody is doing well this evening. As everybody's coming in, and we're going to get to what we need to get to tonight with your favorite vice president, which I thought I put that video up. Okay, I made it, but I'll put it up later. Okay, so everything is we in October, ladies and gentlemen, and this holiday season be upon us real quick. You got your, those of you who like to dress up for Halloween. I don't want to hear all that. Oh, the devil, I don't want to hear all that. If you don't participate in that, you don't do it. God bless you, and don't do it. But those of you who may do that, go to parties. You got your kids, like, oh, I got to bring some things from my my classmates and all that stuff. You know how it goes when you got kids, right? Sometimes adults just want to dress up in a costume, right? Whatever. I tell people, you can have fun without being a devil. I always say that. Just enjoy life, man. Enjoy life, because this stuff in this freaking country or throughout the world it can drag you down. I don't want you to be in life where you can't smile, can't have fun with friends and family. Of course, not Diddy type of fun, but we talking about some regular fun with friends and family and all of that. So, shout out to y'all. Thanksgiving coming up, as well, so people definitely planning for Thanksgiving to come up. So, and then those of you who do celebrate Christmas, we know our super spiritual people don't celebrate either, and that's fine. You don't have to, you do something else. Just spend time with friends and family. All right. So, see, Lisa's already there. Like, Lisa, people celebrate that, whether you may not celebrate it, Lisa, but other people do, So, kids come knocking on your door or whatever, talking about they want some candy or whatever the case may be. I know when I was a kid, that's something I look forward to. Shoot, I was like, man, I could dress up as a superhero. I can give me some free candy. Man, I couldn't ask for a better thing. But, my parents are like, you ain't eating none of that candy till we go through it. And they would literally go through each candy, open it up, see what's in it. One time they was going through the candy, open one up, and they had like a stick pin in it, right? Like literally like a stick pin. So if you just put that in your mouth, you just stuck your mouth. Now today you got to be careful because people, try to put, lacing stuff with fentanyl and all that these days. So you got to be careful with some of that stuff, man. Today people are wicked today. People always been wicked, but they really wicked today. So just be careful. Just be careful with that, ladies and gentlemen. And also we've been kind of talking about this next year, 2025. You want to hit, do some events in several cities. So like I said, if you're an event coordinator or something like that, definitely, let us, hit us up. We'd be interested in talking to you. Of course, we had to look you up. What's your profile though? But we all there. You say you eat candy and watch old horror movies. I really try to stay away from candy myself. Definitely anything with all those food dyes and all that. I'm really, funny about all them food dyes and high fructose corn syrup. It's just all the research I've been doing on all this stuff. I'm like, man, I want to stay away from that stuff because, they have proven that the same companies that sell food in other parts of the world don't even put the trash they put in our food here. And you wonder why, our cancer rates are through the roof or diabetes rates are through the roof or high blood pressure or, all these people needing kidney transplants and all of that because it's the doggone food. Because you think about it, when grandma was coming up, you didn't have all these disparities with health like that, right? And they would eat sometimes fried chicken all the time, right? And you still never had all this heart disease and all the certain things that people had because, they was more so cooking and eating at home and they didn't really eat, if you think about it, they wasn't eating all that processed food. Now, processed food is like anything in a bag, you know what I'm saying? Definitely anything you're going to buy at that frozen section, anything is already prepared, it's processed, and I don't care if they say it's organic, it's still processed. The only thing you could do is if you cook at home, that I would say you can't completely eliminate processed food in America, unfortunately. Well, you could, but you have to be extremely intentional. But you definitely can minimize it. If you can get it to the point that you're eating 90% non-processed and maybe 10%, then maybe that's a little bit better than going 100% processed, right? So it's just things like that. We got to think about our health, man, because health is wealth. I'll tell you that much. Health is wealth. If you look on the back of a package and it looks like a chapter of a book, don't eat that mess. That is not good for you. Don't eat it. Please don't eat it because it's not good. But of course, this country won't tell you that. You have to go do your independent research and research. What we say to you here, we're not here to give you a college degree. We're not here to give you a high school diploma, but we're here to give you some information. It's on you to go do your research on your own spare time. Go look at AI if you need to. Go look at Google. Go, read a book. Do something. But it's you can't get everything in a live stream. You just can't. Maybe you can get some nuggets or something. Then it's for you to go do the research. Don't depend on somebody just to give you all the information. Because number one, that's not fair to them. And then number two, you need to learn on your own. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Yeah, they say sugar cane is worse than cocaine. There you go. Especially high fructose corn syrup. That's the devil. If you see anything with high fructose corn syrup, stay away from that, please. That's guaranteed to give you diabetes. and obesity and anything else related, right? Please stay away from high fructose corn syrup. All right, so let me see here. There's something else I need to get to tonight, but yeah, let me cut on him real quick, and then I will get to what I need to get to here. Hold on. You know what? Nah, we'll get to our boy tonight, and then we're gonna get started.
I probably did. I know. I would. Detective Thorpe, his brain was the size of a squirrel brain, so you could just tell him anything, he gonna go for it.
Your Honor, at this time, the state's going to ask permission to treat Mr. Copeland as a hostile witness under pursuant to 24-6-611, Your Honor.
Granted.
Thank you.
What that mean?
Don't worry about it. That's just for her to understand how she can ask the questions. You just continue to answer them truthfully.
Isn't it true that in this January 11, 2015 interview that you told Detective Thorpe that at Club Pusha on that Monday before Donovan Thomas was killed that Kel punched you in the back of your head?
I don't recall what I told the detective.
And is it I'm sorry. Sure.
I don't recall what I told him specifically, however you pronounce it.
Okay. And is it also true that after Kel punched you in the back of the head, then other people came and began jumping on you as well?
They time gonna come.
That's not the question I asked you. Is it true that you told Detective Thorpe during this January 11, 2000 interview that after Kel punched you in your head, that other individuals also began to jump on you as well?
I don't recall what I done told the police. Y'all gonna charge me for what I did? I don't did the time for the crimes y'all caught me for.
Would you mind your language while we're sitting here in court?
I'm trying to. I'm on. Y'all need to give me a break because my blood pressure is real high. I keep telling y'all, leave me alone.
Okay. And the quicker we get through this, the quicker we can leave you alone. Do you understand?
Okay, I don't recall.
Okay. Going back to January 11th, 2015.
I don't recall.
Can I finish the
Wait
question?
and listen to the question.
And they keep bringing up Thug name. So what I did was, to get them off of me, I said, Thug did this, Thug did that, Thug did, because I knew they would never, I knew he didn't do it. And in my mind, I knew that the police would never go mess with him. So it was easy for me to try to throw the blame off on him to get them off of me. And that's what I was doing from all these years. I don't remember what I don't told them in the past. But my whole motive was Thug did it because I knew he didn't do it and they couldn't lock him up. And they keep talking about Thug. So guess what I'm gonna tell them? Yeah. What else you want me to tell them? Yeah, he killed this person. Yeah, he did that. That's what I'm gonna do. And that's right now. If I walk out this thing and they say, if I walk out this thing and they say, the police stop me now. Hey man, give me something about Thug. Make something up about him again.
On January 11, 2015, when you went to speak to the police.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Woody, and like I said, oh boy, I'm gonna go through some more of those videos of Woody. I can have so much of that. That dude, that was a trip, and that whole case with the YSL Young Thug case. If y'all look at it, that case is a mess. That is a mess. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna make a movie off of that or put that mess on Netflix or Tubi or whatever. But that is a hot mess. From the judge getting changed out to it's a hot mess. You know, I don't see how they even taking this mess seriously. Fonnie Willis's office, right? And didn't they gonna vote? I think she got the nomination, so I guess they're gonna vote for her again in the primary, I think November, I think. But, Atlanta is Democrat central. Like all the major cities are Democrat places. They got a stronghold. No matter what state it is, most of the major cities are Democrat. It's just bottom line. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. How many of y'all are registered to vote? How many of y'all did your voting already? Some people maybe did mail-in ballots. already. And if you did, that's cool. A person like myself, I just prefer to go do it myself or whatever. But I can't do anything until the 21st of October here in my state, ladies and gentlemen. But as always, just so we can make sure that we are doing our due diligence. Where is it at? Okay, where is it at? All right, yeah, just go to vote.gov, ladies and gentlemen. And vote.gov, you can get registered to vote. As our brother Julius Malema says, what's the point of you being in the EFF if you cannot even vote? He said if you're not registered, he gonna kick you out the EFF. And I agree with Julius Malema. You're in Black America and you're complaining about the Democrats all day long, but you're not gonna get out there and do nothing. No, you need to get out there and be registered to vote and participate definitely in the election, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so your favorite vice president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, she has, finally been doing interviews, right? For a while she's, avoided interviews. She still haven't had an interview where people really has challenged her. Let's say that much. We know that the CNN interview was originally 40 some odd minutes. And it wasn't live, but they put on there live. It wasn't live. It was actually pre-recorded. And they cut it down to 18 minutes. Now, that's crazy. You have to cut out that much footage. Like, what did she say? What did she bumble? What happened, right? So we all watched that interview, and we remember how she would not answer the question about, being black, okay? Then we know at the Boulay meeting, she brought it up. She kept saying Donald Trump, he's the same old tired playbook. And she kept repeating that, Lord Jesus forever. Same old tired playbook. Like, Lord, please come up with something new, right? Then they talked about it at the debate. And he repeated what he said. And it was her time to stand on business then, to say she's a black woman, right? She did not do that then. Then we fast forward to the NABJ, the interview that she conducted with them. And she said that, well, I'm a black woman. So we was like, okay, where'd that come from, right? All of a sudden, now you're black. But it still kind of goes back to what Trump was saying, like, you're black when it's convenient. Because, most black women I know, they're black every day. If you ask them about them being black, they're pretty proud of that. They're going to let you know. If you insult them about them not being black, they're going to get you told and get you set straight. Okay, one thing you're not going to do is insult a black woman about her blackness because she's proud of that. That's for sure. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris, she went on the Up in Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, right? You remember she did an interview with Ricky Smiley. I want you to pay attention to the people she's sitting down with. So Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, it's nothing against them, but they don't do politics like that. They may talk about pop culture. They talk about sports. They talk about whatever, right? But they really don't do politics like that. That's number one. You have Ricky Smiley, a comedian / radio host now. She did an interview with him, and he's not no political mind. That's not really what he do. He shields, but a shield just repeat talking points by, Democrat think tanks, every week, and it's been put out. Every week they get emails about different things to put out there to talk what the talking points are, how to combat what we say. The think tanks, they always talk about the Heritage Foundation with Project 2025, but you're not talking about, what's they call the Centers for Democratic Progress and all the different other Democrat think tanks. There are think tanks on both sides, right? So they're passing the shields their talking points. That's why when you hear the shields talking, they all saying the same thing, is because they get the emails about what the talking points are, right? So when it came to at least black people, and if I'm wrong, you could correct me, in this cycle, she has not sat in front of a black person that you could say, okay, that black person, well, let's say the NABJ, they did a good job. Let me say that. They did a good job. All of them, I applaud them for what they did. So let me not discredit them. But the NABJ did a great job. They asked her some real questions, especially his sister Tanya Mosley. She really pressed her. I like she did that. I I don't know why she's not interviewing with more people like that, but I know why, because she don't really want to be pressed on any kind of policies. Because, hey, somebody may eventually start bringing up black people a little too much. And she don't want to get, from what I see, I'm not going off of what anything else from what I see, she don't want to be put in a corner about black people. But now all of a sudden she claiming blackness. Okay. So I want to point out one section about, all of you who have been questioning her blackness, all of you who've been saying that she's an East Indian woman. Okay. Hell, I've even said it, and I said it because it's the way she was raised. She was not raised around black people. She's culturally an East Indian woman, right? Culturally. Even today, what black people do she really surround herself with? You look at on that stage at the DNC, where was all her black friends and family at, right? No, the black family was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. She only has one living parent, which is her father. We never see this man. I mean, if they say, okay, if he's sick, he couldn't come, whatever, to the DNC. Let's say he couldn't. He could have did a pre-recorded message supporting his daughter. The DNC would have played it, right? Her mother's passed away. I just think that person, that's strange. I mean, are you that estranged from your father, the only parent you have, that he don't even want to either show up or even send a pre-recorded message to play in his daughter's biggest night? I mean, it's interesting to me. I know families have issues and problems. I know that, but it's just interesting. So let me, I thought I saved it already, which I did, but I'm gonna have to cue it up. So just give me a second.
One, I don't listen to it. Okay. I'm really clear about who I am, and if anybody else is not, they need to go through their own level of therapy. That's not my issue.
Their issues, right?
My mother was very clear. She was raising two black girls to be two proud black women, and it was never a question. It's funny because over the years, journalists, some, not most, will want to talk about it. And I say, okay, if you want to have this conversation, I'm prepared to have it, but sit down and get comfortable for a few hours. If you want to start talking about race in America, you want to talk about the 1/8 rule?
A drop.
You want to talk about what it means in terms of who you are perceived to be and the impact that can have on the rest of your life, regardless of who you actually are in terms of your God-given capacity and the rights that you have and should have. So, I don't mess with that. I think that's other people trying to figure some stuff out that and they got some issues. They got to deal with it themselves.
All right. So she was pretty forceful in that. That some of y'all got, we all got some issues. Okay. All right. That's a decent assessment, but let's start this over because I just got some questions. And maybe y'all can correct me because, like I said, I don't have the answer for everything. Maybe y'all do.
One, I don't listen to it. Okay. I'm really clear about who I am, and if anybody else is not, they need to go through their own level of therapy. That's not my issue. Their issues, right?
Okay. So let's get there. So anybody's questioning you, they need to go do their own level of therapy. Identity is really not that hard. I mean, we live in a country where men can identify as women can identify as men. People can identify with what they say is 100 different genders. People identify a whole lot of ways in this country, right? So the issue that people are having, let's say Black Americans, let me not say people, Black Americans in particular, is that we noticed a pattern with you, ma'am, is that whoever you get in front of, that's kind of who you kind of cosplay to. You understand what I'm saying? And so you jump in and out of blackness when it's convenient. See, a person like myself and maybe others, we can't jump in and out of blackness when it's convenient because we don't know what you're saying behind closed doors about black people or blackness. But they say you know a person by their fruit, right? And let's look at her. What fruit has she produced that we could say, okay, that's our sister girl right there because she did X, Y, and Z for Black Americans. I know the family of Matrice Richardson who looked at Kamala Harris at the time when she was Attorney General, when she said she was going to get down to the bottom of what happened to Matrice Richardson and use Matrice Richardson to get votes. And then after she wins Attorney General, then she just basically sides with the police. The family of Matrice Richardson, you wasn't a sister girl with them. What about that other brother in California, the Jamal brother, True Love? Well, you sit up there and put him in prison, and then his conviction was overturned. What about that? You wasn't a sister girl to that brother, right? See, when you're supposed to be black, this is how black people look at you. So since you're supposed to come from the community, I'm saying just the general conversation, they expect you to be someone in the inside to say, hey, I came from the black community, so I know what we deal with. So if I'm the Attorney General of California, I'm going to prosecute these police. I'm going to do whatever I got to do if they sit up here and I know they're being discriminatory. I know they're pulling this black person over for some BS. Or I'm going to do the research on how many black people they're pulling over. What's the percentage of black people in this particular city? How many white people are there? Hispanics, Asians, whatever. And if I sit up here and see that black people are being pulled over more than maybe whites, Hispanics, whatever, and they are less in population, I'm doing a doggone investigation. I'm doing an investigation because clearly some unlawful behavior is going on. See, when you're supposed to be a black attorney general, that's some of the things that you're supposed to do. And you know clearly that happens all over America, actually, with black Americans. So when you're in a position like attorney general, then that's the things you're supposed to do, right? If you see something like marijuana, which doesn't hurt nobody, I prefer a person to have marijuana than alcohol behind a vehicle. You know how many people have lost their lives behind DUI or people being drunk? But I have not heard, oh, this person was high on marijuana, weed, and they crash and kill up a whole family. No. If anything, they probably driving slow, if anything, right? I haven't seen nobody on marijuana just get crazy. I'm talking about if it's just, that's what it is. I ain't talking about it being laced with anything. And I haven't seen that, but with alcohol, you've seen people fight. You're seeing people be out of their mind. You see people pass out. You see people wake up and like, what did I do? You don't really see that. So you're going to lock up more people behind some doggone marijuana at the time instead of worrying about the violence. Then when people was in jail, black men in particular, it's all Hispanic men, but black men, as Attorney General, she kept them in jail. And the judge had to basically tell her, I think it was a federal judge, had to tell her, hey, you got to release them out of jail because they want to keep them in jail to do prison labor. And you know by the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, if you are in prison, you are a slave. The slave owners is the state now. The slave owners is the federal government now. It's not some white person there that no more with a plantation. No, they have transferred that to the states and to the federal government, right? This is why we talk about mass incarceration. And if you're a so-called black politician, then you should be waging war against slavery, right? So when it comes to her and why it matters about her identity, because what you identify with, you're also going to do for. Isn't that correct? Yes, alcohol has destroyed countless of lives. You're right. Notice you haven't heard her doing nothing bad to the East Indian community or any immigrant community. She ain't really done anything bad to, right? I haven't heard her putting East Indian men in prison. You think East Indian men don't commit crimes in America? Yeah, they do. People in general commit crime. It has nothing to do with color. But you see her surrounding herself with everybody else except the people in the neighborhood, right? Okay, cool. So she jumps in and out of blackness when she get ready. And you didn't have no upbringing in the black community. You grew up, you grew up with your mom. Then you moved to Canada, and this neighborhood that you're talking about all the time, right, was in Canada. This middle class community was a Canadian community, wasn't even here. And you lived in basically a white area. When she went to school, high school, she went to school with mostly white people. She didn't go to school with black people until she went to Howard University, to the HBCU. Then she started going to school with black people, okay? Other than that, her life has not been surrounded by black people. So really, in a way, how could she really relate to us in a way, too? Because I always think about her upbringing. How could she relate unless she's intentionally brought herself around black people? You know, let's say she got to HBCU, and then from there she just went all black. But she didn't do that. Well, you know, Willie Brown, but, you know, that's not nothing you could say is serious. It's not like she was married to Willie Brown, but, oh, yeah, Willie Brown was married, and she was the side chick, the open side chick to Willie Brown, right? And that's kind of what she did, right? So that says a lot about morals. But let's continue.
My mother was very clear. She was raising two black girls to be two proud black women.
Okay, so she's saying her mama was raising two black girls. All of a sudden, they black girls now. I would say her sister looks more Indian than she do. I'll give her that much, right? But how could your mom raise two proud black women? And in order for her to do that, I'm not saying she can't raise you to be proud or whatever, right? I'm not saying she can't raise you to be a good person. But in order for you to be a proud black woman, where's your black aunties? So they can reinforce some things, so they could teach your Indian mother something about black people, black culture, or let's say Jamaican culture, right? Let's go there, Jamaican, black Jamaican culture. Where was your Jamaican aunties? You know, where were, you know, you're not talking about the chickpeas. You're not talking about the curry chicken or none of that. You talking about the curry and everything else that happens in the East Indian community. You're not talking about the one in the Jamaican community. Where was your Jamaican, your black Jamaican aunties to reinforce and say, hey, okay, well, look, you got two black girls, so let me teach you, you know, how it is for black women. Let me give you, you know, some straightening. Let me give you the game on this. Let me teach you, right? No, you were going back and forth to India. They did a whole CNN report talking about how she was going back and forth to India. They did in that CNN report that came out about her in 2020, they did not say she was going back and forth to Jamaica. And then check this out. Okay, you black. Okay, cool. Where's your Jamaican family? Where's your black Jamaican family? And nobody's came out? You haven't reached out to none of your black Jamaican family? Even at your biggest night, you are now the first so-called black woman to be in that position, right? And where was your black Jamaican family? I mean, like, even the optics of it, just like when y'all saw that picture, if y'all go back and look at the video, her black Jamaican family should have been there, and her father should have been there. And most men, they will do whatever they gotta do to be there for their children, right? And nobody was there. But you seen Doug behind up there, her husband. You seen his cheering. You seen everybody else up there with her. You seen the Indian family up there with her. But where was the black Jamaican family? Where were they at? I'm curious. So how could your mammy raise you to be a strong black woman when she didn't have no knowledge of what that is? She can raise you to be a Indian woman because she's an Indian woman, and that's understandable. But if you're in this father's background so questionable, but if your father was there and they stayed together, maybe I believe it a little bit more, right? But it's just interesting to me that you don't even talk about your father like that. That's interesting. So let's continue.
And it was never a question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny because over the years, journalists, some, not most, will want to talk about it. And I say, okay, if you want to have this conversation, I'm prepared to have it, but sit down and get comfortable for a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to start talking about race in America,
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk about the 1/8 rule?
Okay, I don't know any black American in particular that would say the 1/8 rule. When have we ever said the 1/8 rule, right? When have we said that? I've always heard of the 1 drop rule, but with the 1/8 rule, see that's what goes to tell you that you wasn't culturally raised, definitely with Black America, and you wasn't even culturally raised with Black Jamaicans. And I can't even say you was raised with Black Jamaican immigrants in America, because even Black Jamaicans in this country know about the one drop rule, and Black Jamaicans are descendants of slaves in the Caribbean, but they are descendants of slaves as well, right? So why is it that you're sitting up here saying the 1/8 rule? I mean, the more and more she speaks on some things, the more and more it kind of exposes her. Now, you say journalists want to ask you that question. Why do journalists want to constantly ask you that particular question? Because the journalists see that you like to hop in and out of blackness when it's convenient. And then they look at your life and you're not even surrounding yourself with Black people. Look, let's call it what it is. How come when it was time to select your vice president, you didn't even have one Black man that you can even consider? You couldn't even consider one Black man in the running. All of them are white men. Not even one. Not even one. I mean, make it look good. You could have listen. Am I wrong? Am I wrong that she could not even consider one Black man, one Black Democrat? I'm talking about a Democrat. Let me throw up a Democrat in my head. The governor, Maryland. I think it's Maryland. Wes Moore. That and I think he's Jamaican descent. Yeah, he is. He's Jamaican descent, right? You mean to tell me you couldn't consider Wes Moore for the vice president? I'm just saying. I'm just saying you cannot consider at least one Black person. I mean, if you're a sister girl like people saying you are, then you at least consider one Black man, right? I mean, there's other Black Democrats you maybe could have got involved with it, right? Or you couldn't even consider a Black woman. If you didn't want to do a Black man, you couldn't consider a Black woman, right? Where's Sister Keisha Lance Bottoms? You couldn't consider at least one Black woman? You know, since you want to be a police, where's Val Demings at? The former Congresswoman Val Demings, who used to be the police chief out of Florida. You couldn't consider her? She was a Democrat. She was law and order too, right? Or am I wrong? Or am I wrong just asking that kind of question? Couldn't even consider a Black Democrat, not even in the running. All the folks. That's all she considered. But that's her world, though, too. Now, some people may say, well, she wouldn't be able to win the election if she didn't get a white man on the ticket. Okay, well, she didn't even consider a white woman. Right? Wouldn't it be historic if she actually got a white woman up there with her? And they talk about things, but no, she don't want to. Because a lot of times women like her, let me tell you something. I've seen it. Women like her, they'll hang with white women, but secretly they really don't feel them too much, especially in certain positions where they feel threatened by them. But that's neither here nor there. And speaking about, there was a story that just came out about Doug. Did y'all hear that story about Doug? But we'll get to that later. Let's get back to this.
You want to talk about what it means in terms of who you are perceived to be and the impact that can have on the rest of your life, regardless of who you actually are in terms of your God-given capacity and the rights that you have and should have. So, I don't mess with that. I think that's other people trying to figure some stuff out that and they got some issues. They got to deal with it themselves.
Okay, so it's a lot of people that just got issues, I guess. It's a lot of people because you've never been clear about your standing, and people see that you have no commitment to the Black community. Now let me find something real quick about your homeboy here, Doug. Just give me a second.
because I don't know if y'all heard what happened with Doug here recently. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me get to it so y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. That came on the wire this morning, and I was saying, man, is she okay? You know, just give me a second. I wonder if she's okay. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. It popped up right there. All right. Just so people won't say, "Oh, you just being." Let me see. Hold on. Where's it at? Okay, right here. Let me now, if a black man had did something like this, oh boy. Doug Emhoff accused of forcefully slapping his NYC girlfriend for flirting with another man at a ritzy gala in 2012. Now, you remember the last thing about this man? It seemed like a lot of things starting to come out about him. You know, they said that he had got the nanny pregnant, and that's why he had got divorced from his previous wife. He got the nanny pregnant, so the wife had divorces behind. I was like, man, and so when I heard that, I know she knew that happened. I was like, why in the world would you marry a dude like that? Okay. So they say that he's being accused of slapping his ex-girlfriend and flirting with a ballet worker at a ritzy gala in 2012. It's a M. Hall 59 supposedly struck his then girlfriend, described a successful New York attorney, in the face so hard she spun around while in the ballet line and at an event at the Cannes Film Festival in May 2012. The three unnamed friends of the woman reportedly told the Daily Mail that all three sources requested not to be named due to fear of retaliation from Emhoff, who frequently positions himself as an ally for women. They said the second gentleman made headlines. It's an interview with Jen Psaki, who credited for reshaping the perception of masculinity. No, he didn't reshape no position of masculinity. Ain't nobody paying attention to him for that. So they said the three friends spoke to the Daily Mail, provided photos of Emhoff posing with the woman he supposedly slapped in 2012, along with documents corroborating the trip they took to the south of France around the time of the incident. They said the woman declined to comment on the story. The Harris campaign did not respond to comments. A request for comment, I'm sorry. They said the incident came just a year before Emhoff was a successful entertainment lawyer and Harris met on a blind date. So this is the thing. He's interesting. First you had downtown Willie Brown and that situation. Then you go get a man that sit up here and laid up with the nanny, got her pregnant. Then he allegedly slapping women in the face because I guess whatever her flirting she was with, right? I mean that's an interesting character. You know, I mean, because I always say people's patterns don't change. You know, if a man has no problem hitting women, they're going to do it again. You know, now they may not hit every woman because some women will put the fear of God in you like, yeah, you put your hand on me if you want to. Watch what happens. You know, some women will put the fear of God in some men, but I'm just saying, you know, that's interesting. But with all that being said, I just personally didn't like the deal about saying that people need y'all got a problem. I ain't the one with the problem. Y'all got a problem. People need therapy. They need to figure out their issues or whatever. How do people have issues when you admitted that journalists have had questions about your identity and clearly you have not gave a sufficient answer to put that mess to bed to where people won't bring it up no more? And it is important because we clearly see, based on your record, how you have not prioritized black people. Matter of fact, when black people ask you to do something, you say this.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
What black woman would say that? I don't know no black woman that love her community would say some crap like that. She wouldn't say that. So when people hear you say that, and then you say, well, I'm black. Well, my mama raised 2 black women. But you haven't been living black, ma'am. And like one person said earlier, she's ethnically Indian. She is, and that's okay. My thing is just keep black. Because see, when you say black, let me tell you something. There's only one group of people who's been labeled black. Black is our race and our ethnicity. You may say Black American, you may say FBA, but when you say black, most people say you're talking about Black American. Now, you know, the first time I heard that, I did an interview maybe 2 years ago or something like that with a Dominican sister, and in an interview that's on here, her name Christina. You can go look up the interview. She said that when you say black, well, she was talking about Dominicans when they say I'm not black, I'm Dominican. So she was explaining that when Dominicans say that, they're saying they're not Black Americans. Say the only person who's black is Black Americans. Dominicans are not Black Americans. And, you know, at the time, you know, we like, so y'all rejecting blackness, but when you bring it up to today and now more so you have a delineation movement, that was actually a great explanation because they are Dominican. We are Black American. Now you say, well, they black, they racially black. Yeah, in this white man system, yeah. Okay. But at the end of the day, you know good and well, even they know the difference with a Black American and anybody else. Well, you remember the white gentleman in Springfield on that video. I know y'all saw it on the internet when he was talking about the Haitians and he was saying, hey, they not Black Americans. So they even know the difference. So that lie about, well, they don't know the difference when they pull us over. Yeah, they know. They may not be able to look at you at times, but sometimes they may. But when they hear you speak, they gonna know, or they look at your name, especially if it's the police, they gonna know. They definitely gonna know. But we tried to tell y'all a long time ago, at least at the time, about the delineation. Stop. What are you doing? You didn't want to. Now all of a sudden that Black Americans are delineated. Now here you come talking about we all the same and the police won't know no difference and racism's the same. We tried. It's funny how we had the same message toward y'all at that time, and now Black Americans are delineated, and then now that. So with Vice President Kamala Harris, on top of that, you know, with the delineation movement or whatever is going on now, and then you look at the policies of the Biden-Harris administration, you look at in this election cycle, Black Americans or their issues have not been highlighted whatsoever in this election. Think about it. At least in 2020, I will admit that the Democrats was at least speaking about some issues that Black people was talking about specifically, right, in 2020. But you take it to 2024, and you're supposed to have the first Black woman in East Indian woman, and she's not even mentioning Black issues that Black people even care about. She's talking about lift all programs, and she's talking about immigration. She's talking about LGBT. She's talking about everything else. Except, we got to also remember she's talking about unaliving children in the womb, and she's really championing that. But you never hear her go champion that to the migrant women. Never. She never brings the Planned Parenthood mobile clinic to the border, right? Because what's one of the things they tell Black women? Well, you know, you're poor right now and you don't have money, and that kid gonna ruin your life, you know, so you should go on to Planned Parenthood, and you know that way it won't ruin your life. None of them immigrant women are given the Planned Parenthood mobile clinic. You understand what I'm saying? None of the Planned Parenthood is going down there to the border. But they gonna go put that in Chicago, where a lot of Black people at the DNC. Now, you say you have a bad feeling about you say Kamala. you call her Kamala. Okay, I'm pretty sure she didn't heard. You know, I don't know. I like that sister called her Camilla, because that kind of reminded me of the old people. You know, old people just make up a name on you. Like I can't say that name. I'm calling her Camilla. You know, that's the name I'm calling her, you know, so then you stuck with a name that your mammy didn't even name you, right? But how is it benefiting Black people to be promoting that? When you look at all the migrants and they're having all the children they're having, right? And yet they're promoting Black people get rid of your children. You know, to me, that's continuing the legacy of Margaret Sanger and eugenics. Oh yeah, Eric. Old Doug slap women. You know, he cheats, he gets them pregnant, and then he slaps them. Yeah, old Doug is wild, isn't he? We didn't even hear that about Downtown Willie Brown. We ain't heard that about now. Downtown Willie Brown was cheating on his wife, you know, with Kamala. But you ain't hear that about Willie Brown slapping women and getting women pregnant. No, you ain't hear that about Willie Brown. You ain't hear that. You actually went from bad to worse with that situation. But anyway, it's this eugenics stuff that she's promoting that I can't get down with this eugenics, man. You're always promoting this to black women. Give something positive to black women. You know what I'm saying? One think about it, you talk both sides out your neck. 1 minute you talking about unaliving children in the womb, then the next minute, I want to give a $6,000 child tax credit. So are you going to promote more children, or are you going to promote unaliving in the womb? Which one is it? That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Oh, Jay, Jay, we know that. We know that. Listen, trust me. If you really want to know how Brad get down, just go talk to a white woman. A white woman, to be honest with you, they'll tell you. Like, look, if you don't talk to a white woman, just go look at the publications, the news publications in their areas where we're not at. Look at the kind of heinous crimes that they do to their women. Look, I know brothers, do some wrong things too, but I've covered stories over the years. Oh my God, they do some heinous stuff to white women. They really do. That's why some of them women be trying to holler at the brothers. They be trying to holler at the brothers. They know brothers don't get down like that. And this the killing part about it. The brothers, if they do something to them, they going to jail. If Brad do something to one of them, he may not even go to jail or get a slap on the wrist. You remember people like Brock Turner? That story? If they do something, it's called affluenza. Ain't no black man getting that kind of defense. Well, I remember, like I said, years ago, and you probably go, I think it's still, did I still have that playlist on Emancipation Media? Because I think I was covering the crime statistics, and I was pointing things out. And I remember, back in that day, and I still never forget it. They used to always try to come to my page talking, you black people commit the most crimes, or you do. I say, okay, you know what? Y'all keep saying that, I got something for you. So I'll never forget that. I did White on White Crime Month. And it's like every day I was just covering those stories. And when I saw the depraved criminality in their community, I didn't want to hear nothing else from them. And learning about that is with quote unquote black crime, is that black people's crime is more economic. Black people's crime becomes just about non-existent when they get to the middle class and up. Most of our crime is in low-income people or people who don't have opportunities. Like, let's say you made a mistake, you did something wrong, you did your time in prison or jail, but you got a felony though. Well, the reason why those people get back in trouble again is because if a person gets out of prison, a brother or sister get out of prison, well, how in the world, they may not have that ingenuity to create a business. Not everybody have that. So they need to get a job. Well, if you're telling them they can't get a job or the jobs are available, they can't really pay them anything for a living wage, then they can't rent an apartment sometime because they say if they got a felony, right? You put them in a position to do criminality to get money. You know what I'm saying? And that was wicked for them to do that to somebody. If somebody did their time and served their time, they should be able to get a job. They should be able to get a place to stay. Now, I understand you may not want, it should be some guidelines, right? Like, okay, if you on the registry, I really don't want you working with children. No, you cannot work with children if you're on the registry. or certain things you just can't do. You're on the registry, right? But if a person did their time, whatever it may be, give them another job. The person on the registry can go work in an Amazon warehouse somewhere. I don't know, whatever. But people need to have an opportunity to take care of themselves. That way they won't have to go back to prison. That's the thing. And in prison, they're working for all kind of corporations in prison, but they're same corporations they can't work for when they get out of prison. And we have our black representation, right? Our so-called black representation. The same system keeps going. Nothing happens with this system. And I told y'all, all these black politicians, that's up there. They're black faces to keep the system going. They're black faces that represent white supremacy. Because think about it, we got so many black politicians, and you notice we are still in the same condition. We got black mayors, black governors, we got black city council people, we got black CEOs. You got to think about it. We got black people, and we are very represented in this country, and yet our condition has not changed for the better. But when immigrant groups get their people in, they at least halfway smart enough to look out for their own people. But we don't do that as black Americans. Yeah, but see, SP, let me tell you something about that. Yes, white supremacy is real, but at the same time, the reason why white supremacy still works is because you have willing collaborators who are black that's willing to go along with that system and that's willing to assist that system keep going because they benefit off that system. Prime example, the Boule, and the vice president's in the Boule too. The Boule, they don't benefit from the system being radically changed. Y'all have to understand, when you talk about the Trump thing, people say, oh, Trump's racism, whatever the case may be about Trump. What they really fear about Trump is his radical change of society and throwing everything off from the status quo. You remember when Biden got in, he said, I'm coming in to put everything back to the status quo. The status quo don't really benefit black people because the status quo is keeping us at the bottom. The status quo, what is that, right? Versus, I'd rather a system disrupted. I'd rather it's turned on its head. Cool, go ahead. Because, hey, we tried it the status quo way, and what did we get out of it? Nothing. As a group, maybe some black individuals who sold out, yeah, they get they coins. So you got people like in the Boule who's really fearful. They doing everything they can. They're fearful of Biden and them getting out of office. They're fearful of Trump win. They fear that. They fear it to the core. This is why you see them the Shields going overtime, talking about Project 2025, and and instead of fear mongering, just tell people how are you better than Trump. Just tell people that. Show people your policies that they're living so much better today after almost 4 years, but you don't have that. That's why you got to scare people. And this is my thing. I can care less about a Project 2025 because my people have survived slavery, Jim Crow, anything you could think about. We know these folks don't want us to have nothing. We know, listen, and notice, I want y'all to notice something. Where was the Democrats complaining about Edward Bloom and affirmative action? Notice when things happen to us, the Democrats are silent because they don't want us. Listen, the Democrats and the Republicans are the same. They both in agreement that they want to maintain white supremacy. Both of them want to maintain that. They do not want a system of equality. They do not. The Democrats just let people of color participate in maintaining white supremacy a little more than what the Republicans will do. But rest assured, y'all talk about Tim Scott and Byron Donalds and anybody else over there. Well, Wes Moore and anybody on Congressional Black Caucus that you see, they no different. They all the same. They are both helping maintain the system because they get benefits from helping maintain the system. but they're all the same. Oh, I ain't like him. They the one racist. Okay, well, if you so much better, why Gavin Newsom in the the California Legislative Black Caucus, why they work together to undermine reparations? Remember, y'all Democrats, y'all supposed to be better for black people, right? The Republicans are the racist ones. So when you did that, that means you just as racist as the Republicans then. And you have no excuse in California because you have a supermajority. So you can't blame the Republicans. Then when the Republicans try to put up the bill, the reparations bill, oh, John said that he voted against blue last week by early voting. God bless you, John. Thank you. Your brothers and sisters in California are going to appreciate you voting against blue. Remember, the Democrats have a supermajority. And when the Republicans tried to put up the bill, they fought against him and would not even let him put up the bill. They wouldn't even want to vote on this. The Democrats did this. It wasn't the mean old Republicans. So what he proved is the Democrats cannot run around saying it's those Republicans. They're the racist ones. Vote for us. We're not racist. You see? Look at all this black representation. Look at what we have. And yet we're getting the same results as the mean old Republicans, right? With all this representation, the same results. See, that's the one thing about this election that was exposed about the Democrat Party, that they are no different. So you can't be saying, oh, the Republicans and the Project 2025 and all that. Like, look what y'all did with a supermajority. Those California politicians like Kamala Harris, those California politicians are interesting, aren't they? You say you're a goddess. Navi say you're Republican voting for the test of my days in Cali. Thanks. Oh, okay. All right. You know what? California may surprise you. Listen, it would be some progress if California turned purple, not red, but purple. I hope people in California eventually do that one day. I hope people do that, but unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna happen. But it'd be great if New York and California turned purple. That would be beautiful. Oh, that'd be beautiful. Because the Democrats, they got too much power down there. And think about it, I just covered on the podcast the other day, Gavin Newsom. So Huntington Beach, those of you who live out there in Southern California, Huntington Beach, the voters voted to have voter ID in Huntington Beach. The Democrats in California in the assembly went and put up a bill. Gavin Newsom signed it, so they could not require voter ID in Huntington Beach. Now, the Democrats always say Trump is a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy. He's dangerous to democracy. Well, last time I checked, voting in our elections and having the voice of the people is part of democracy. Right? Well, how come every time the voters want to vote on something and participate in their democracy, here come the Democrats undermining democracy? But yet they say Trump is a threat to democracy. Look at in Chicago, when the voters wanted to put the sanctuary city status on the ballot so they could choose if they want to be sanctuary city or not. That would be participating in a democracy. Brandon Johnson and some of those aldermen undermined, not all the aldermen, but undermine the people of Chicago to vote if they want their city that they live in to continue being a sanctuary city. So I don't want to hear no talk from Democrats talking about Trump is dangerous to democracy when I'm sitting there watching y'all undermine democracy when people vote or want to vote and have their voice heard. You know what I'm saying? And when these shields come tell you that kind of mess, throw that stuff back in their face about how they undermine democracy all the time. They're dangerous too. They don't want not just black people, but they don't want Americans to have a voice either. They believe in authoritarianism. And before I wrap this up, think about the Biden-Harris administration. She run around here talking about women should have a choice of what they do with their bodies. But remember, during the pandemic, she didn't give none of you a choice. Biden didn't give you a choice of what you did with your body. Right? But you say you believe in a woman's right to choose, but you don't believe in Americans' right to choose. what they do with their body, and they had to make choices with their doctors or whatever, right? They didn't do that. They say that you couldn't go certain places, you couldn't travel, you lost your job if you didn't do certain things. You understand what I'm saying? But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this stream tonight. Got to wrap this up. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click the subscribe button. It's very, very important. Make sure you click the like button as well. And tomorrow we will see you, should be at the same bat time and same bat channel. Make sure you go to bed, get you some good rest tonight, because, some of y'all don't get some sleep. Get you some sleep. But we'll check you